The glass exploded against the far wall, close enough that I felt the air shift beside my ear. It wasn't aimed at me. It was placed there on purpose. Close, theatrical, meant to frighten. My wife stood frozen near the counter, breathing hard, knuckles white around my phone as if it might bite her back. The kitchen carried the sour scent of spilled wine and burnt bread, the kind of smell that lingers long after the moment passes. It was just past midnight. The ceiling light flickered like a tired witness, buzzing faintly as though it wanted no part in what was happening. "You're sick," she murmured, barely louder than the hum. Her eyes darted between the screen and my face. I saw her hands tremble. I saw the certainty she'd lived in crack open, piece by piece. All I could think was that she'd arrived at the truth much later than I had. She scrolled again. Messages. Pictures. A version of me smiling in ways she hadn't seen in a long time. She looked up, waiting for shame to appear on my face. It didn't. "What did you think would happen?" I asked quietly, after she let out a sharp, disbelieving laugh. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. That pause, that empty space, was when it finally landed on her that something had gone terribly wrong. I used to believe loyalty had to be loud. Anniversaries, declarations, promises said in front of other people. I learned too late that real loyalty is silent. It's choosing the same person when there's no audience. We'd been married for 7 years, ordinary years that meant everything to me. Grocery lists on Sundays. Shared passwords. Her hair clogging the shower drain. My favorite mug chipped in the same place. Then there was Marcus. Her former boyfriend. The one she insisted was irrelevant, a closed chapter. The one who texted after midnight, laughed too easily, knew details about our life he shouldn't have known. I never accused her. I approached it gently. One evening, I told her it made me uneasy. I asked if she could create some space. She laughed outright. Told me she wouldn't erase someone from her life just because I felt insecure. I remember how she leaned back, arms folded, convinced she'd won something. I remember realizing how small she thought I was. I smiled. "All right," I said. "That's fair." She believed that was the end of the discussion. It wasn't. It was the moment I stopped pleading and started paying attention. I quit asking questions. That unsettled her more than any argument ever had. I began to notice details instead. Her phone always face down. Errands that appeared out of nowhere. Marcus renamed in her contacts with a harmless emoji. And then there was Lena, her friend, who laughed a little too hard at my comments, who always found a reason to sit beside me, whose compliments brushed past the line and pretended not to notice. I'd ignored it all for years. Loyalty can blind you like that. But once my boundaries were dismissed, something sharpened inside me. I stopped trusting and started listening. And Lena, eventually, started talking. The truth didn't arrive in a dramatic explosion. No screaming matches. No obvious signs. Just a piece of paper. A crumpled receipt I found in her car, hotel bar, 2 drinks. His favorite whiskey. Her usual cocktail. The same night she told me she'd be working late. I didn't feel anger then. I felt empty, as if something vital finally packed up and left. I sat behind the wheel for a long time, staring at nothing, realizing I wasn't furious because I'd been betrayed. I was furious because she assumed I'd accept it quietly. I didn't confront her. I went inside, kissed her cheek, asked about her day. She lied smoothly. And I started preparing. Revenge doesn't need chaos. Chaos makes mistakes. I gathered facts, dates, screenshots, patterns. I let her believe I was fading. Then I asked Lena to get coffee with me. She agreed before I finished speaking. I mentioned it to my wife casually, openly. Her smile was tight, forced. "That's nice," she said, like the words tasted wrong. One coffee turned into more. Always in public. Always honest. Lena didn't feel like a betrayal. She felt like a wake-up call. I never hid anything. I didn't have to. Within days, my wife unraveled. Questions, accusations, tears she'd never cried for me before. Marcus disappeared. Blocked. Erased. Funny how boundaries become important when they're finally hurting you. The final argument happened right there in the kitchen, beneath that same flickering light. She accused me of planning everything just to wound her. I didn't deny it. Your feelings stopped mattering to me, I said calmly. So I acted like it. She broke down then, real sobs, the kind meant to rewind time. She swore she'd cut him off. Said she chose me. I raised my voice just enough to stop her. No, I said. You chose comfort. And then you lost control. I slid my phone across the counter. Messages. Dates. Proof laid out neatly. Her expression collapsed as understanding finally settled in. I smiled when you dismissed me, I told her, because that's when I stopped needing you. Silence filled the room. She knew it was over. I moved out 2 days later. No shouting. No lawyers yet. Just space. Lena didn't stay in my life, and she wasn't meant to. She was a reflection, nothing more. Now I sit alone in a quiet apartment. No flickering lights. No lies humming in the background. People ask if I regret the way I handled it. I don't. I offered respect. I offered honesty. I was laughed at. So I smiled, accepted the terms, and acted accordingly. When it ended, I wasn't the one begging to be chosen. Justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just says, calmly, all right, that's fair.